What's going on, y'all? Forward Fabian Horror back again with a video, man. We're doing a reaction to Tinder Date Turns Deadly, the case of DJ Valentina Trespalacios. True crime doc, man. Who's this from, actually? Let me see. From Crime Story Diaries. Shout out to Crime Story Diaries, man. Be sure to like the video, comment down below. Subscribe to their channel. Let's get into this reaction, man. Sub to the channel if you're here or into horror content. That's what this channel all about. Horror content, man. Let's get into it.
Bogotá, the capital of Colombia, pulsates with the energy of nightlife. The bright lights of clubs illuminate the streets, and the rhythmic sounds of Latin American music emanate from every corner. Amidst this vibrant world, a young star emerges, Valentina Trespalacios. At 23 years old, Valentina had already become a well-known figure on Colombia's club scene. Her talent as a DJ, charisma, and beauty quickly made her a crowd favorite. The clubs where she performed were always packed, and her name on a poster guaranteed a successful evening. However, behind the glare of spotlights and loud music lay a story that would soon shake not only Bogotá, but the entire world. Valentina Trespalacios was born on December 16, 2001, to Giovanni Trespalacios and Laura Hidalgo. Along with her older brother Daniel, she grew up in Bogotá, the capital of Colombia. Valentina's childhood was marked by changes. Her parents divorced, and the girl remained with her mother and brother. Laura Hidalgo, Valentina's mother, became the backbone for her children. She worked tirelessly, often at several jobs simultaneously, to provide for the family. This mother's dedication deeply influenced Valentina and Daniel, instilling in them a strong sense.
I have to sound like an AI personality. Hopefully this is an authentic story. I would assume to say it is, but the narrator sound real AI-ish.
Of responsibility and ambition. Over time, Valentina's family expanded. Her mother entered into a new relationship, which led to the birth of two more younger children, a brother and a sister. Valentina and Daniel lovingly accepted the new family members, further strengthening their family bonds. Already in her teenage years, Valentina began to show an interest in music and nightlife. At 15, she first entered a nightclub, discovering a world that would later become her profession and passion. At the age of 17, fate brought Valentina together with someone who significantly influenced her professional path. During one of the parties, she met Pablo Silva, a local entrepreneur who saw potential in the young girl. After several casual conversations, Pablo offered Valentina a chance to try her hand as a DJ. This offer became a turning point in Valentina's life. She enthusiastically took up learning, dedicating her free time to mastering the art of DJing. Over the next few months, Valentina and Pablo maintained regular contact, allowing the girl to quickly progress in her skills. In 2019, after 2 years of hard work, Valentina successfully completed the course and received a professional DJ certificate. Pablo, impressed by her talent and dedication to the craft, took on the role of her manager. Thanks to his connections in the entertainment industry, Valentina began to receive her first professional bookings to perform in Bogotá clubs. The relationship between Valentina and Pablo was not limited to the professional sphere. Over time, a romantic attachment developed between them, which lasted for 3 years. Despite their eventual breakup, they maintained a warm relationship, and Pablo continued to manage her career, sincerely wishing her success.
All these entertainment relationships never last, bro. People be in these relationships with their manager, their agent, and behind the scenes is what can one do for the other. You know, some folks be finessing, and then that's just how entertainment be. Like, it's too weird, but you don't need to be getting, you know, shit where you sleep, so to speak. Like, keep it clean, keep it business.
Over the next few years, Valentina's career skyrocketed. Her natural charisma, musical talent, and ability to sense the mood of the audience quickly made her one of the most sought-after DJs in Colombia. Valentina regularly performed at the most popular clubs in Bogotá and Medellin, drawing full houses of fans.
It's called Medellin.
Valentina's success was not limited to the borders of Colombia. Her talent caught the attention of organizers of international festivals and clubs in neighboring countries. She received invitations to perform in Chile, Mexico, and Brazil, which significantly
This
expanded
AI
her
bot's
professional
trash.
horizons and increased her fan base. Parallel to her music career, Valentina began working as a model. Her natural beauty and style attracted the attention of the fashion industry, opening up new opportunities for her. This additional activity not only increased her popularity, but also became an additional source of income. Despite the rapid rise in her career, Valentina did not forget about her family. She used the money she earned to support her mother and younger siblings, often treating them to gifts, movie outings, and restaurant visits. This generosity and dedication to family only added to her appeal in the eyes of fans. In early 2022, when Valentina's career was on the rise, fate brought her together with a man who would radically change her life. Through the dating app Tinder, she met 34-year-old American John Poulos. Despite the significant age difference and language barrier, they struck up a conversation. John, who had a poor command of Spanish, used an online translator to communicate with Valentina. This obstacle, however, did not prevent them from developing a virtual relationship. John, enchanted by Valentina's beauty and charisma, showed remarkable persistence in communication. He talked about his life in Texas, his work, and interests. Valentina, for her part, shared stories about her DJ career and life in Bogota.
Seemed like a weirdo.
Over several weeks, their communication became increasingly intense. They exchanged messages daily, gradually learning more about each other. John showed particular interest in Valentina's career, often asking about her performances and plans for the future. After several weeks of virtual communication, John proposed a personal meeting. Since Valentina had a scheduled performance at a festival in Mexico, they decided it was the perfect opportunity for a first date. Mexico was a convenient meeting place, located between Colombia and Texas. Valentina, who was used to male attention, was intrigued by the prospect of meeting an American. John, for his part, spared no expense in organizing this meeting, covering all travel expenses. When they finally met, the first impression was positive for both. Despite the language barrier, they managed to find common ground. John was enchanted by Valentina's beauty and energy in person, while she appreciated his gallantry and generosity. During the few days in Mexico, they spent a lot of time together. John accompanied Valentina to her performance, impressed by her professionalism and popularity among the audience. They also explored the city, enjoying local cuisine and landmarks. This first meeting was so enjoyable for both that they decided to extend their stay in Mexico, spending almost 2 weeks together. During this time, they grew closer, and what began as a chance online acquaintance turned into a real
I think I feel like if you in the entertainment industry, like, why aren't you focused? Like, that's a career that has to have you completely focused. Bouncing in and out of relationships, just getting messy, getting sloppy, moving too quickly. That's how you know things gonna automatically go left.
romantic relationship. After returning from Mexico, Valentina and John decided to continue their relationship, despite the geographical distance between them. John, who had the financial means to travel frequently, regularly visited Colombia to see Valentina. During his visits, John demonstrated a generosity that impressed not only Valentina, but also her family. He gave expensive gifts, paid for luxurious dinners, and organized extravagant entertainment. This financial support extended to Valentina's professional sphere. John sponsored her cosmetic procedures and wardrobe updates, which were important for her career as a model and DJ. When John couldn't be in Colombia, the couple maintained contact through video calls and messages. They discussed their days, shared plans for the future, and dreamed about joint travels. John often expressed his admiration for Valentina's successes, supporting her ambitions in the music industry. However, over time, the first signs of tension began to appear. John increasingly showed concern about Valentina's work in nightclubs and her communication with other men.
I need you to change your lifestyle.
He insisted on frequent video calls, especially when Valentina was at work, which sometimes caused her discomfort. As the relationship developed, details of John's past, which Valentina initially didn't know about, began to emerge. It turned out that he was a recently divorced father of 3 children. His marriage to Ashley Poulos ended in divorce in January 2022, just a few months before meeting Valentina. The story of John's previous marriage was full of drama. In 2018,
Always got
one of
baggage.
his sons was diagnosed with cancer, which became a huge trial for the family. The stress associated with the child's illness and caring for 3 children obviously negatively affected John's character. According to his ex-wife, he became aggressive, which eventually led to divorce. The divorce process revealed another unpleasant side of John. He transferred all the couple's joint property to an offshore trust, effectively leaving his former family without means of subsistence. Moreover, he refused to pay child support, demonstrating a complete lack of responsibility for their well-being.
Now he's going off the deep end.
These facts from John's past remained unknown to Valentina for a significant period of their relationship. She saw only the side of John that he wanted to show a successful, generous man ready to do anything for her. However, over time, his controlling behavior and jealousy became more obvious, gradually revealing his true nature. As time passed, the relationship between Valentina and John began to take on an increasingly tense character. John, who was initially attracted by Valentina's popularity and success, now became excessively jealous and suspicious.
It's only a matter of time. Once you lock it down, or once a lot of guys lock it down, they get super territorial. So if you ladies need to understand this. It's not the concept of, well, that's how you met me, that's how you should accept me. Well, although that may be true in some light, but a lot of guys is going to change after the fact. When they get with you, they're going to act like now you need to completely change everything. And I think one should, but quit being oblivious to the fact that men get territorial after you become their girl. So now he's getting super controlling.
His controlling behavior became more and more obvious. John began to insist that Valentina video call him every time she went to an event or performance. He wanted to know where she was, who she was talking to, and even controlled her clothing. This behavior caused discomfort for Valentina, who valued her independence and professional freedom. The situation reached a critical point when John, not trusting Valentina, hired a private detective to follow her. This fact deeply offended Valentina when she found out about it. She felt that her personal life and trust had been grossly violated. Valentina's family, who initially approved of her relationship with John, now began to express concern. Although they still considered him Valentina's protector, John's obvious obsession and controlling behavior caused them anxiety. In December 2022, the situation reached a critical point. Valentina, tired of John's constant control and suspicions, tried to end the relationship. She felt that his behavior was becoming increasingly intrusive and toxic. John, faced with the prospect of losing Valentina, resorted to desperate measures. He confessed that he had hired a private detective who allegedly confirmed his suspicions about Valentina's infidelity. This statement led to a heated argument, during which Valentina firmly denied all accusations. Realizing that his actions could lead to the end of the relationship, John abruptly changed tactics. He began to beg Valentina for forgiveness, promising to change. Moreover, he announced his decision to move from Texas to Colombia to be closer to her. John argued that constant presence near Valentina would help him overcome his insecurity and jealousy. He also expressed a desire to marry her and start a family. This unexpected proposal and apparent readiness for serious life changes impressed Valentina.
Impressed her. At this point in time, you need to get your security on point. You need to get a restraining order, keep your distance from him. Dude's doing too much in too quick of a span. He already showed red flags. Now this is impressing her. Like, come on, man. Saw it from a mile away.
After long deliberation and under the influence of emotions, Valentina decided to give their relationship another chance.
Bad
Shaving,
move. Bad
waxing,
move.
and
Horrible choice.
She agreed to live together, hoping that
To
proximity
live
would
together?
help resolve their problems and strengthen their connection. At the beginning of 2023, John implemented his plan to move to Colombia. On January 19th, he arrived in Bogota, renting an apartment in a prestigious residential complex for 4 days. This short rental period would later raise suspicions among investigators. On January 20th, John rented a gray Volkswagen Voyage car and helped Valentina move her things to the new apartment. Valentina was full of enthusiasm about their life together as evidenced by a video call to her mother, during which she conducted a virtual tour of the new home. That same evening, the couple visited the Nexus
Damn, y'all ain't got that
nightclub,
footage?
where
That's
Valentina was to
crazy.
perform as a
Where's that
DJ.
footage at?
Witnesses saw them together. They seemed happy and slightly tipsy, but not drunk. However, some
lit.
eyewitnesses noticed that John looked jealous due to the attention Valentina was receiving from other club visitors. Valentina's last known public appearance occurred late on January 20th, when she and John were returning to their apartment. Surveillance cameras recorded them entering the building together. The events that took place on the night of January 20th to 21st remain the subject of investigation and trial. However, based on evidence and testimony, it's possible to reconstruct the likely course of events. According to the forensic examination, Valentina's death occurred on Saturday, January 21st. The cause of death was determined to be strangulation and injuries from blunt force trauma. Numerous bruises were found on Valentina's body, particularly on the neck, face, and forearms. Abrasions in the mouth indicated the particular brutality of the attack. The fact that Valentina was found in a nightgown suggests that the attack occurred when she was asleep or preparing for sleep.
So dude
This
flew
may also
across the
explain
globe
why
just
she
to
was
harm
unable
her.
to defend herself.
Dude flew all the way across the globe just to put his hands on his ex-girl or to be soon again girl. For what? And she was excited to start a family with you and get started. Like, it just sounds stupid to me. Corn dogs, man. A lot of these guys, man, women beware, ladies beware. A lot of knuckleheads out here, bro. The weirdos. You know what I'm saying? But give the good guys a chance.
Effective.
We know y'all won't, but anyway. Yeah.
The motive for the crime, according to the investigation's version, could have been John's jealousy. He may have learned about Valentina's relationship with another man, Santiago Luna, whom she had been seeing since
so
November
she was
2022. This information likely became the catalyst for John's outburst of anger. It's important to note that these details are based on evidence collected by the investigation, and the final picture of events can only be established during the trial process. On January 22, 2023, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the lives of many people changed forever. A homeless person, searching for something valuable in trash bins near the El Dorado International Airport in Bogota, made a gruesome discovery. The man came across a large blue suitcase that turned out to be unusually heavy. When he tried to open it, he saw that it was carefully wrapped with duct tape. Cutting through the tape, he found a white garbage bag with bloodstains inside. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, the homeless man immediately reported the find to the authorities. The police quickly arrived at the scene and cordoned off the area. Upon detailed inspection, they discovered that inside the suitcase was the body of a young woman. Next to the body in the suitcase, a small black box with personal belongings was found, including a student ID and a paper identification card. These documents helped quickly identify the victim as Valentina Trespalacios. The discovery of Valentina's body marked the beginning of a large-scale investigation. Bogota police immediately began collecting evidence and interviewing witnesses.
Pure idiot.
The first step was to establish a chronology of the last days of Valentina's life.
Left all the documents ID within the bag with her body, so she's easily identifiable, which traces you completely, can easily tie you to the crime. These guys really don't be thinking about nothing, man. They don't be thinking about nothing. They just do stuff of sheer emotion. Can't take control of their emotions. Have that if I can't have you, no one else can type of mentality, to where they just go off the deep end, man. These are guys who probably don't have frequent relationships or don't have a lot of relationships. So when they find one that they can actually sustain, or a girl that likes them, and maybe it's a girl that may even be out of their league, and they're just completely surprised that they even pulled her, so they're like enamored. These kind of guys get weird, and they'll be obsessive, try to control you. The relationship comes to a point where it's about to end. He may go off the deep end because you probably the best thing that ever happened to him. So losing you is the end of his world. So women need to vet men. Sometimes I don't think women have the best type of skills when it comes to vetting men and picking their partners and their mates, because like the cliches, women always pick the bad boy, and those guys turn out to be horrible choices for them, right? Like, so they're gonna continue to pick what they like, but that's what I'm saying. I don't even know if the advice would help. You gotta really vet guys, bro. Some of them are just complete bozos.
Investigators turned to Valentina's family and friends to obtain information about her last contacts and plans. Particular attention was drawn to the fact that Valentina did not show up for a scheduled performance at the Nexus Club on Saturday, January 21st. An important witness was Valentina's manager, Pablo Silva. He reported that he couldn't contact her for a day, which was extremely uncharacteristic of her. It was Pablo who first called Valentina's mother, Laura Hidalgo, informing her of the tragedy. Investigators also focused on collecting video materials from surveillance cameras in the area where the body was found, as well as from places Valentina had visited in recent days. Special attention was paid to recordings from the residential complex where she lived with John. Analysis of Valentina's mobile phone, found along with her belongings, revealed numerous missed calls from Pablo and other contacts, confirming the unusualness of her disappearance. From the very beginning of the investigation, the main attention of investigators was focused on John Poulos, given his close relationship with Valentina and the fact that he was the last person to see her alive. His sudden departure from Colombia on the day the body was discovered only intensified suspicions. When the police began investigating Valentina's death, John Poulos was already implementing his escape plan. On January 22nd, the same day the body was discovered, John left Colombia, boarding a flight to Panama. His actions indicated careful preparation. John closed all his social media pages and turned off his phone, complicating attempts to contact him. He had $7,000 in cash and several bank cards with him. John's plan was complex and well thought out. From Panama, he planned to fly to Istanbul and from there to Montenegro. The choice of Montenegro was not random. This country does not have an extradition treaty with Colombia, which theoretically could protect him from prosecution. To confuse his trail, John purchased tickets for different flights. He had tickets not only to Istanbul, but also to Sao Paulo in Brazil. All tickets were purchased with cash, making them difficult to trace. These actions by John immediately drew the attention of investigators and made him the main suspect in the case. Colombian authorities declared him wanted and established a reward of 20 million Colombian pesos, approximately $4,500 for information about his whereabouts. John Poulos' escape turned into an international operation for his detention. Colombian police cooperated with Interpol and law enforcement agencies of other countries to track his movements. Thanks to quick and coordinated actions by the authorities, John was detained at the Panama airport. The dramatic arrest occurred literally minutes before he was to board a flight to Istanbul. During the detention, a significant amount of cash and several credit cards were found on John. Additionally, scratches were noticeable on his face, which, according to investigators' assumptions, could have been traces of a struggle with Valentina. John's attempt to explain his escape proved unconvincing. He claimed he was fleeing from the Medellin cartel, which was allegedly responsible for Valentina's death, and was now pursuing him. This version was quickly dismissed by investigators as implausible. John's detention in Panama became a key moment in the investigation. It not only prevented his possible disappearance, but also provided the investigation with important evidence and the opportunity to conduct a detailed interrogation of the suspect. Just a day after his detention, on January 26th, John Poulos was extradited to Colombia. There he appeared before the court, where he was charged with the murder of Valentina Trespalacios and concealment of evidence. On January 26, 2023, John Poulos was extradited to Colombia.
You're not a child.
Yeah, we got that part, man. The AI on this is horrible. I just decided I might as well continue through on the story.
His arrival in Bogotá was accompanied by heightened security measures. Police and journalists waited at the airport for the murder suspect to be let off the plane. The first images of John after extradition showed a man with noticeable scratches on his face, confirming the observations made during his detention in Panama. These scratches became an important element of the evidence base, as they could indicate a struggle with the victim. After arrival, John was immediately taken to a detention center for initial interrogations. During these interrogations, he continued to insist on his innocence, repeating the version about being pursued by a cartel. However, investigators quickly found inconsistencies in his story. John's lawyers immediately began to build a defense strategy, emphasizing problems with translation and claiming that their client did not understand the nature of the charges due to the language barrier. This tactic was aimed at prolonging the judicial process
thought
and
he was
creating
clever.
grounds for possible appeals in the future. Parallel to John's interrogations, investigators continued to collect and analyze evidence. A key element of the investigation became the recordings from surveillance cameras installed in the residential complex where John and Valentina lived. The video recordings showed how on January 19th, John checks into the apartment with a blue suitcase, which later becomes the instrument of the crime. On January 20th, cameras recorded the couple entering the building together, which was the last time Valentina was seen alive. Particular attention was drawn to footage from the early morning of January 22nd. It shows John wheeling out a heavy blue suitcase covered with a blanket on a cart. He loads it into the rented car with obvious difficulty, indicating the significant weight of the contents. Further recordings showed the route of John's car through the city, including a stop near the place where Valentina's body was later found. These video evidences became key in establishing the chronology of events and John's connection to the crime. The forensic examination also provided important evidence. Analysis of Valentina's body confirmed that death occurred from strangulation, and numerous bruises and abrasions indicated a brutal attack. Experts suggested that the attacker might have received scratches from the victim's nails, which corresponded to the injuries found on John's face. This evidence, along with John's sudden escape and his inconsistent explanations, created a solid basis for the prosecution in the murder of Valentina Trespalacios. During the investigation, new details of Valentina's personal life emerged, shedding light on possible motives for the crime. Investigators discovered that since November 2022, Valentina had been maintaining a romantic relationship with a successful businessman, Santiago Luna. Santiago, who lived in a luxurious penthouse and owned a fleet of expensive cars, represented an alternative to Valentina's relationship with John. These relations remained a secret from John, but as investigators suspect, he might have learned about them shortly before the tragedy. Analysis of Valentina's correspondence with friends showed that she was planning to end her relationship with John. She complained about his controlling behavior and expressed doubts about their future due to the large age difference. These facts allowed the investigation to form a theory about the motive for the crime. Probably John, upon learning about Valentina's intentions to leave him and about her relationship with another man, acted under the influence of strong jealousy and anger. On January 28, 2023, the first court hearing in the case of John Poulos took place. The session attracted significant public and media attention, turning into a high-profile event in Colombia. At the hearing, John was officially presented with charges of murdering Valentina Trespalacios and concealing evidence. Prosecutors emphasized the brutality of the crime and presented the court with key evidence, including surveillance camera footage and results of the forensic examination. John's defense immediately began to apply delaying tactics. The lawyers filed a complaint about the alleged illegal detention of their client at the Panama airport, claiming that his rights were violated. They also insisted on translation problems, stating that John did not understand the essence of the charges due to the language barrier.
Dang, that's crazy.
John's behavior during the hearing raised additional questions. He laughed at inappropriate moments, which prompted the judge to reprimand him. This was seen by many as a sign of disrespect for the court and the seriousness of the situation. Prosecutors presented a theory that John had planned the crime in advance. They drew attention to the short rental period of the apartment, only 4 days, which contradicted his promises to Valentina about long-term cohabitation. The trial promised to be long and complex, given the seriousness of the charges and the international nature of the case. John faced up to 40 years in prison if found guilty. The murder of Valentina Trespalacios caused wide resonance in Colombian society and beyond. This tragedy raised important questions about women's safety, toxic relationships, and feminism. Numerous civic organizations organized memorial events for Valentina, drawing attention to the problem of violence against women. Hashtags in support of domestic violence victims appeared on social media, as well as calls to strengthen legislation in this area. Valentina's story became a catalyst for many women who began sharing their own experiences of toxic relationships and violence. This led to an increase in the number.
Look at this fool's face, bro. Bro just looked like a goofy. You know what I'm saying? He actually thought he gonna get away.
Number of appeals to crisis centers and support hotlines. Media coverage of the case was intensive, with detailed analysis of Valentina and John's relationship. Psychology and sociology experts discussed signs of toxic relationships that could be noticed in their history, emphasizing the importance of early recognition of warning signals. The case also sparked discussions about safety on social media and dating apps, as it was through Tinder that Valentina met John. This led to calls for strengthening security measures on such platforms. The tragic death of Valentina Trespalacios had a significant impact on Colombia's club and entertainment industry. Event organizers and club owners began to review their security policies, especially regarding the protection of female workers. Many clubs introduced new security protocols, including enhanced visitor control and the creation of safe zones for women.
What the hell is that?
Some establishments began offering special training for staff on recognizing signs of dangerous behavior and responding to potential threats.
Advanced visitor
control. In the music community, initiatives to support women DJs and performers emerged. Festivals and concerts dedicated to Valentina's memory were organized, featuring exclusively female artists. The fashion industry, in which Valentina also worked, responded by creating campaigns against violence against women. Some brands launched special collections, with part of the profits directed to support organizations fighting domestic violence. This tragedy also affected the perception of the DJ profession in Colombia. Many began to realize the risks faced by women in this field, especially when it comes to late-night performances and interaction with strangers.
R.I.P. Valentina, man. R.I.P. to her, bro. Just one of them stories about creepers and weirdos out here, man. They exist. You gotta be cautious. You gotta be ready. That was Tinder Date Turns Deadly, the case of DJ Valentina Trespalacios. That was from Crime Story Diaries. Obviously an AI-based channel, AI narrator. Dude was mispronouncing Medellin, says Medellin. Medellin, fool. But just had to make it through that one. Planned on making it through that one. So obviously, I don't know about considering this channel for future reactions. But comment down below y'all's thoughts on the story. I like more of, where they recreate, or if there's interrogation footage, actual valid photos pertaining to the individuals, maybe a crime scene, things of that sort. But this one was just straight pictures all the way through. So comment down below y'all's thoughts though. R.I.P. Valentina. But yeah, subscribe to the channel. If you have additional horror content y'all want to see me do, put it down in the comment section below. We'll see you guys in the next video. We out. Peace.